Hello, welcome to the Tea Party Howdy channel. Alright, so apparently the news is going to be talking a lot about wearing face masks and how there's a new study out that says, ooh, it's our savior. Okay, cool. It's either that or talk about Ruby Rose quitting the Batwoman role. What? Ruby Rose quit? Yeah, she did. Why? Check out the Critical Drinker, he tells you why. Let's see. Wearing a face mask can reduce the cootie transmission by up to 75%, a study says. And that's what you're going to hear a lot. But I think there's some extra information that might be important to you, so you're not lining up with fake news, because, oh, is there a lot of it out there. All right, let's take a look down here. Researchers have found that wearing, here it is, surgical mask. Surgical masks are specifically made with extra woven fibers to catch tiny little bitty droplets that come out of bodies when we breathe. They are not made out of t-shirts, spandex, whatever else is out there on the market right now. And they're not going to include that in the report. Or are they? You'll have to listen and find out. If they include the word surgical mask, then you know you're getting the real thing, legitimate. But if they don't, then you're getting straight up fake news. Oh, mask. Surgical mask. You know, the ones that are so hard to find, which is why they're having us sew and make our own, or buy one off the street for $5, whatever the case may be. Researchers found that wearing surgical mask can significantly reduce the rate of the cootie transmission, according to the study released on Sunday. The study, conducted by a team of scientists in Hong Kong, found that the rate of non-contact transmission through respiratory droplets on airborne particles, you know, breathing, dropped by as much as 75% when the masks were used. Not just any mask, children, surgical mask. Make sure to tell your parents when you get home. The findings implied to the world and the public is that the effectiveness of mask wearing against the cootie pandemic is huge. Dr. Yuen Kwok Yung, a leading microbiologist from Hong Kong University who helped discover the SARS virus back in 2003. Gee, thanks for discovering that. Couldn't you have discovered like a cure for it instead? That would have been much more appreciated. It was released by the Department of Microbiology at the University of Hong Kong and comes as world leaders, including The Who. I love The Who. Teenage Wasteland. It's only Teenage Wasteland. They're all wasted with cooties. Have questioned the effectiveness of face coverings outside of the medical settings. And well, they should continue, because we're only talking about surgical masks. Wait till you see who they tested it on. The study described as a first-of-its-kind place with hamsters. Hamsters. Not people. Hamsters. So, when you get compared to a hamster, I just want you to know. That's what we're talking about. I guess it's better than being compared to a rat. A dirty rat. Are you talking about Mickey Mouse? No, that's a different video. Alright, well, the study described as a first-of-a-kind placed hamsters in 2 cages with one group infected by the cootie and the other being healthy. They placed the animals in 3 different scenarios to analyze the effectiveness of the coverings for the face. In one scenario, the mask barriers were placed only on... Okay, who cares about all that? But it is interesting that they used a fan to circulate the air. There it is right there. For all the scenarios, a fan was placed behind the cages to allow for the transmission of the respiratory droplets. So they created their own little hurricanes. All right, let's see. They found that when the masks were placed between... So they've got these surgical masks they're putting in between the cages, okay? So imagine a diaper there, essentially. And they found that when the mask was placed over the infected cage, the infection rate dropped to just over 15%. The infection rate... I'm like, when I'm first reading this, like, did they put a little mask on the little hamsters? Because that's such a meme. That is such a meme. But no, they didn't. No. Anyways, the results were really strong. But there was surgical mask, and that's kind of the thing. So this study tells us absolutely nothing about the masks that are being worn in the general public. Nothing. It really doesn't. So you can assume, and we all know what happens when you assume things, you can assume that wearing a face covering is making a marked difference. But up to 75%? Mm-mm. And don't forget, when they say up to 75%, your mileage may vary. But nonetheless, when you hear the news, pay attention to see if they're yanking your chain with, "Hey, face mask," like this headline, or no, surgical face mask. You know, the ones that are specifically made that you're not supposed to be buying because we're supposed to save those for the health professionals. At least we were before we not only flattened the curve, we bent it all the way down, because now we are currently living in the world of Tyrannosaurus governors. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the future. Go check out that Batman story. Oh, I'm sorry. I meant Batwoman. Oopsie.